Hello, my friends. I'm Dr. Linda Parker, your senior wellness guide, and today we're going to talk about something that many people over 60 quietly struggle with but rarely mention out loud. Waking up at 3 in the morning. Not once in a while, not only after a stressful day, but night after night, almost as if your body has set a secret alarm you never asked for. If this sounds familiar, I want you to stay with me, because what I'm going to share with you can change not only your nights, but also your days, your mood, and your long-term vitality. For years, we were told that waking often at night is just part of getting old, that poor sleep is inevitable, and that you simply have to get used to living tired. But the truth is very different. Your body still has an incredible capacity to rest deeply, to repair itself while you sleep, and to wake up with clarity and energy, even in your 70s or 80s. The fact that you are waking at 3 a.m. is not a sign that you're broken. It is a sign that your body is trying to tell you something. When you learn to understand that message, you can gently guide your system back into balance. My purpose in this conversation is very simple. I want to explain, in clear and practical language, why so many seniors wake up at 3 a.m., what is happening in your brain and your body at that hour, and how you can use natural habits and gentle changes in your routine to help your sleep become deeper, more continuous, and more restorative. No scare tactics, no magic tricks, and no unrealistic promises. Just science explained in human terms and daily tools that you can actually apply. Let's begin with the experience itself. You fall asleep reasonably well. Maybe you drift off in front of the TV or you read a little in bed. At first, everything seems fine. Then suddenly, you're awake. You check the clock and there it is again. 3:02 a.m. or 3:15 a.m. or close to it. There may be no loud noise. Maybe you just feel alert, your mind switches on, and sleep feels like a door that suddenly closed behind you. Sometimes your heart is beating a little faster. Sometimes your thoughts start running, worries about your health, your children, your finances, the future. Other times, there isn't even a clear thought, just a vague uneasiness. You roll over, you change position, you get up to use the bathroom, you come back, and then you struggle. A long, frustrating period of half-sleep and restlessness until morning. This pattern is common enough that I consider it a classic sign of what I call the 3 a.m. crossroad. For people in their 60s and beyond, this crossroad is created by several forces that converge at the same moment. Changes in brain chemistry, changes in hormones like cortisol and melatonin, changes in circulation and bladder function, and changes in the way we process stress, grief, and uncertainty. None of these changes by themselves have to ruin your sleep. But when several of them line up and there are no protective habits in place, 3 a.m. becomes the hour when your body loses its balance. To understand how to fix this, we first need to understand what is happening inside you at that time of night. Your sleep is not one long flat line. It cycles through phases. In the first half of the night, you usually have more deep sleep, the kind that repairs tissues, supports your immune system, and helps clear waste from your brain. In the second half, the proportion of lighter sleep and dream sleep grows. Around 3 a.m., your body temperature reaches its lowest point. At the same time, your stress hormone cortisol starts slowly rising to prepare you to wake up in a few hours. In a younger person with very strong sleep pressure, this internal transition often passes unnoticed. In a senior whose sleep drive is weaker, whose bladder is more sensitive, or whose mind is carrying unresolved worries, this transition can easily push you from light sleep into full wakefulness. On top of that, aging changes the way sleep is organized. The amount of deep sleep naturally declines and the sleep becomes more fragmented. Your brain becomes more reactive to sounds, light, or discomfort. Joint pain, neuropathy, or reflux may be subtle during the day, but much more obvious at night when everything is quiet. Medications commonly used after 60, such as certain diuretics, blood pressure pills, antidepressants, or decongestants, can further alter sleep structure and make 3 a.m. awakenings more likely. The result is not simply bad luck. It is a predictable outcome of biology plus lifestyle. There is another piece that we cannot ignore: emotional load. Many older adults carry an invisible backpack of losses and concerns. Retirement, changes in identity, the death of friends or a partner, financial uncertainty, health diagnoses. During the day, the brain has distractions: television, chores, conversations, errands. At night, the distractions disappear, and 3 a.m. becomes the hour where unresolved feelings rise to the surface. Your nervous system, already more sensitive, reacts with a surge of alertness. You wake up, and the mind grabs the first thought available. The more nights this happens, the more your brain learns that 3 a.m. is worry time, reinforcing the pattern like a train track deeper and deeper in your nervous system. Finally, we have two more contributors that are especially relevant for seniors: blood sugar and bladder function. If you eat a dinner very high in refined carbohydrates and sugars, your blood sugar may rise and then drop a few hours later. For some people, this drop triggers a stress response around 2 or 3 a.m., with a release of hormones that can wake you up. At the same time, age-related changes in the bladder, prostate in men, and pelvic floor in women mean that the urge to urinate can appear more easily and feel more urgent. If you drink a lot of fluid late in the evening, especially caffeine or alcohol, the combination almost guarantees at least one nighttime trip to the bathroom. Sometimes you fall back asleep easily. Other times, you wake first because of internal changes and only then notice the bladder. But once you're up, it's harder to return to sleep. So, what can you do? The good news is that you have far more influence than you might think. The most powerful, natural resource we have to fix 3 a.m. awakenings is not a pill or a piece of technology. It is your 24-hour rhythm. The way you organize your day, your exposure to light, your movement, your meals, your thoughts, and your evening routine can either amplify the 3 a.m. problem or gently dissolve it. When we shift this rhythm in your favor, your brain and body regain their internal coordination. Sleep becomes less fragile. Awakenings may still happen occasionally, but they become shorter, less intense, and less frequent. Let's start with the morning, because better sleep at 3 a.m. actually begins shortly after you wake up. One of the most effective habits for seniors is simple morning light. When you expose your eyes to natural daylight within the first hour after waking, even for 10 to 20 minutes, you send a powerful signal to your brain's internal clock. You anchor your circadian rhythm. This early light helps regulate the production of melatonin at night, making it more likely that you feel sleepy at an appropriate hour and that your sleep cycles become more stable. A short walk outside, sitting near a window with direct daylight, or spending time on a balcony can be enough. You don't have to exercise intensely. Just being in the light on a regular schedule is a strong medicine for your sleep system. The second natural habit is daily movement. Not exhausting workouts, but consistent, moderate physical activity that tells your body, "We are alive, we are using our muscles, we need recovery tonight." When seniors spend most of the day sitting, the body never builds up enough sleep pressure. Think of sleep pressure as a gentle weight that needs to accumulate across the day in order for sleep to remain solid at night. A 20-minute walk after lunch, some light stretching or balance exercises in the afternoon, gentle strength exercises with light weights or resistance bands several times a week, all these actions increase the demand for deep, restorative sleep. Over time, that deeper sleep in the first part of the night reduces the likelihood of full awakenings at 3 a.m. because your brain has built a stronger foundation of rest. Now let's move closer to the evening, where your choices can either calm your nervous system or accidentally stimulate it. One of the most important habits is what I call the soft landing of your evening. Many seniors go from full stimulation, bright screens, intense news, worrying conversations, directly to bed, expecting to fall asleep as if someone flipped a switch. The brain doesn't work that way. It needs a gradual descent. Choosing a regular wind-down time, ideally starting 1 to 2 hours before bed, gives your nervous system time to slow down. This doesn't mean you must sit in silence. It means switching to calmer activities, soft music, light reading, gentle conversation, a warm shower, or simple stretching. Dimming the lights is also powerful. Lower light tells your brain that night has truly arrived, supporting your natural melatonin release. Within this soft landing, I recommend a simple 3-part calming practice, especially for those who wake at 3 a.m. First, a breathing pattern. Sit on the edge of your bed or in a chair, close your eyes, and inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold your breath softly for a count of 2. Then exhale gently through your mouth for a count of 6. Repeat this cycle for 5 to 10 breaths. This type of breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest branch that tells your body it is safe to relax. Second, a brief body scan. Starting at your feet and moving upward, bring your attention to each area of your body and invite it to soften. You don't have to be perfect. Just notice and gently release. Third, 1 or 2 sentences of gratitude or peaceful intention, spoken quietly or silently. For example, tonight my body knows how to rest. I give myself permission to let go. This type of inner dialogue matters. It helps break the association between nighttime and worry. The next natural lever you can adjust is your evening nutrition and hydration. If you often wake at 3 a.m. feeling jittery, hungry, or shaky, you may be experiencing blood sugar fluctuations. Eating a dinner that includes some protein, healthy fats, and fiber, such as fish or beans with vegetables and whole grains, instead of a meal dominated by white bread, pasta, or sweets, can stabilize blood sugar across the night. For some seniors, a very light sleep snack about 1 to 2 hours before bed, like a small handful of nuts, a spoonful of natural yogurt, or half a banana, can prevent drops in blood sugar that trigger early awakenings. This should be small and balanced, not a second dinner. Hydration also plays a delicate role. Your body still needs enough fluid during the day to support circulation, kidney function, and brain health. But if you drink large amounts after dinner, especially liquids that irritate the bladder like caffeine, alcohol, or very acidic drinks, you give your body a reason to wake you. A practical guideline is to front-load your fluids, drink more earlier in the day, and gradually reduce intake in the last 2 to 3 hours before bed, while still taking small sips if you are genuinely thirsty. If you take medications that act as diuretics, talk with your doctor about the best schedule. Sometimes shifting the timing by a few hours can reduce nighttime bathroom trips. For those who wake at 3 a.m., mainly because of the bladder, gentle habits can help. One is called double voiding. You go to the bathroom shortly before bed, empty your bladder, then return again 10 to 15 minutes later before actually lying down. This simple practice often allows residual urine to be released, lowering the chance that a small volume will trigger urgency in the middle of the night. Pelvic floor exercises, sometimes known as Kegels, can improve bladder control for both men and women when done correctly. If you have frequent urination, burning, pain, or a very sudden change in your pattern, please don't assume it's just age. Those signs deserve a medical evaluation to rule out infections, prostate problems, or other conditions. Stress management deserves its own moment in this guide because 3 a.m. is a favorite time for the brain to replay worries. I encourage my senior patients to create a daily worry appointment well before bedtime, Take 10 or 15 minutes in the late afternoon or early evening, sit with a notebook, and allow yourself to write down everything that is on your mind. Tasks, fears, questions for your doctor, financial concerns, family issues. The rule is simple. You acknowledge them on paper, and you decide on one small step you can take for each concern in the coming days. Then, when your mind tries to drag you into the same worries at 3 a.m., you can gently tell yourself, "We have a time for that tomorrow. Right now is my time to rest." This may sound small, but over repeated nights, it trains your mind to respect the boundary between problem solving and sleeping. There is also a specific strategy I teach. For the moment you find yourself awake at 3 a.m., many seniors make one critical mistake. They check the clock. The instant you see those numbers, your brain forms a story. Here we go again, it's 3 a.m., another ruined night. That story creates tension and makes returning to sleep much harder. So the first change is to stop clock watching. Turn the clock away from your bed or use one without a bright display. If you wake, keep your eyes away from the time. Instead, return to your breathing practice. 4 counts in, 6 counts out. If you notice your mind starting to run, gently bring it back to the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. If after about 20 minutes you are still wide awake, lying in bed frustrated often backfires. Your brain begins to associate the bed with wakefulness and struggle. In that case, it is kinder to yourself to get up briefly. Go to a quiet, dimly lit room. Sit in a comfortable chair and do something calmly neutral, reading a few pages of a light book, listening to soothing music, or continuing your slow breathing. Avoid screens and bright lights because they can signal daytime to your brain. When your eyes begin to feel heavier, return to bed. You are teaching your nervous system that the bed is a place for sleep, not for battling with thoughts. Your bedroom environment acts as a silent partner in this process. A room that is too warm, too bright, or too noisy will constantly nudge you toward awakenings. Seniors often feel colder during the day, but may sleep better in a slightly cooler room, with enough blankets to feel comfortable. Darkening the room with curtains or an eye mask, reducing noise with earplugs or a white noise machine, and choosing a comfortable mattress and pillow appropriate for your joints can make an enormous difference over time. None of these changes are dramatic by themselves, but together, they create a supportive nest for your nervous system. Now let me share a few short examples that show how these ideas come together in real lives. Names and details are changed, but the patterns are very real. Margaret, 74, had been waking at around 3:30 a.m. for years after her husband passed away. She would lie in bed, thinking about the past, worrying about her health, and replaying conversations she wished she had had. Her days were filled with fatigue and a sense of sadness. When we worked together, the first step was not a pill. It was giving her grief and worry a place earlier in the day. She started a simple ritual each afternoon, lighting a candle, writing in a journal, and talking out loud to her husband for a few minutes. This became her permission time to feel. At night, she practiced the breathing and body scan we discussed. Within several weeks, her 3 a.m. awakenings became less emotionally intense. She still woke sometimes, but she felt less pulled into deep sadness during the night. As her sleep improved, her daytime energy allowed her to rejoin a walking group and reconnect with friends, which further supported her emotional healing. Then there is Robert, 79, who often woke at 3 a.m., feeling his heart race slightly and a craving for something sweet. He would go to the kitchen, eat cookies or ice cream, and then lie awake for another hour or two. His daytime blood sugar numbers were borderline, but not yet in the diabetic range. Instead of scolding him, we looked at his dinner pattern. His evening meal was mostly pasta or white bread, sometimes with very little protein. We changed his dinner to include more lean protein and vegetables, and we added a very small, balanced snack before bed, like a piece of cheese with a few whole grain crackers. We also encouraged a short after-dinner walk. Over a couple of months, his 3 a.m. wake-ups decreased. When he did wake, he felt less urgent hunger and was able to return to sleep without raiding the kitchen. His follow-up blood sugar readings also improved, lowering his risk for complications. A third story is Anna and Luis, a couple in their late 60s. They both complained of waking multiple times at night, but their patterns were different. Anna woke mostly because of the urge to urinate, while Luis woke around 3 a.m. tense and thinking about finances. They were both exhausted and irritable with each other. With Anna, we focused on bladder-friendly habits, limiting fluids late at night, practicing double voiding, and discussing her medications with her physician, who adjusted the timing of a diuretic. With Luis, we implemented the worry notebook, the breathing exercises, and a rule to avoid talking about finances after dinner. They also made their bedroom slightly cooler and darker. Over time, they reported fewer nighttime awakenings, less friction between them, and a renewed sense of partnership. Their relationship with nighttime shifted from enemy to shared project. It is important to say that not every 3 a.m. awakening is harmless. If your nighttime awakenings come with chest pain, severe shortness of breath, intense anxiety attacks, confusion, or a sudden change in your usual pattern, seek medical evaluation. Sleep apnea, heart problems, uncontrolled thyroid disease, depression, and other conditions can manifest with disturbed sleep. Part of taking control of your health in the later decades of life is knowing when to treat your nighttime symptoms as a signal to consult a professional. This is not a sign of weakness. It is a wise use of your remaining years. However, in many seniors, the pattern of waking at 3 a.m. most nights without severe or alarming symptoms is primarily a reflection of lifestyle, emotional load, and age-related biological changes that can be softened with natural habits. Your body is not fighting against you. It is responding to the instructions it receives across the day. When you adjust those instructions, even slightly, you begin to rewrite the script of your nights. So, let's gather the essence of everything we've talked about into one simple sentence. When you align your daily rhythm, your thoughts, and your environment with the needs of your aging body, waking at 3 a.m. stops being an inevitable curse of age and becomes a pattern that can be calmed, softened, and often reversed. And this leads us to the message of hope I want to leave with you. It is never too late to improve your sleep. The brain retains its capacity to learn new habits throughout life. The nervous system can still discover what safety feels like. Your muscles can still enjoy movement. Your heart can still be calmed by your own breath. Whether you are 60, 75, or over 80, every night offers you another chance to treat your body with patience instead of frustration, with understanding instead of judgment. If you recognize yourself in this 3 a.m. story, I invite you to choose just one habit from today's guide and start there. Maybe it's morning light. Maybe it's the evening breathing practice. Maybe it's writing down your worries before bed instead of carrying them into the night. Small steps, done consistently, have a way of transforming not only your sleep, but how you feel about this stage of life. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I'm Dr. Linda Parker, and it's an honor to be your companion on this journey of healthy aging. If this message resonated with you, consider reflecting on your own patterns, talking about them with someone you trust, and sharing this information with another senior who might be quietly waking at 3 a.m. and thinking they are alone. And if you'd like to keep exploring natural ways to support your vitality, your circulation, your confidence, and your well-being in these later decades, you're welcome to stay connected, to listen, to learn, and to remember that your health story is still being written. Night by night, choice by choice, breath by breath.